Uzoma and Uche have been best friends since they were young. They do everything together, and their bond was so strong. It felt as though they were brothers. Uzoma deeply cherished Uche and valued their friendship. They spent most of their time at each other's houses. Whenever Uzoma was at Uche's house, he would gladly help with chores, showing his selflessness and willingness to support his friend. However, when Uche visited Uzoma's house, he rarely lifted a finger. Instead, he would sit around, eat, and relax. Despite this, Uzoma didn't mind. He was happy to have Uche as a dear friend. They were inseparable and always went hunting together regularly. Uche was like a brother to Uzoma, someone he could rely on and share everything with. Meanwhile, Uzoma had a younger brother named Chinedu, who often followed him on his hunts with Uche. Chinedu disliked Uche intensely, but he never openly expressed his feelings or told Uzoma, his brother, about it. One fateful day, something happened that caused the king of the land to summon everyone in the kingdom. He announced to his people that he had lost something of immense value and declared that anyone who found it would be greatly rewarded. The king described the object in details, stating that it was a golden shiny bracelet. After the king's address, everyone returned to their homes, eager to begin their search for the treasure. The next day, Uzoma and Uche went hunting in the forest. Uzoma's brother, Chinedu, also followed them. While hunting, Uzoma stumbled upon something shiny. It was hidden among the leaves. As he picked it up, his eyes widened in recognition. It matched the description of the king's golden bracelet. He was excited, and he called Uche and Chinedu, showing them what he had found. They both rejoiced with him. Uzoma was eager to do the right thing. He decided to immediately take the bracelet to the king. Chinedu, his younger brother, encouraged him, agreeing that it was the best course of action. However, Uche, his closest friend, wasn't in agreement with this decision. He advised Uzoma to wait until the next morning to return the bracelet to the king. "You've already found it. There's no rush. Just wait till tomorrow morning to give the bracelet to the king. Besides, it's really late to be going to the king's palace by this time," Uche said. Uzoma decided to do what Uche, his friend, suggested. He decided to wait till the next morning to go to the king's palace. Early the next morning, Uzoma was startled by a loud knock on his door. When he opened it, the king's guards stormed inside his home rudely, without explanation. They searched every corner of his house until they saw the king's golden bracelet. Before Uzoma could understand what was happening, the guards began beating him and accused him of stealing the king's prized possession. Bewildered and in pain, he tried to explain, but none of them would listen. He was dragged to the palace. His heart was pounding with confusion and fear. Upon arriving at the king's palace, he was shocked by what he saw. His shock turned to betrayal as he saw Uche, his closest friend, standing before the king, calmly narrating a story that painted Uzoma as a thief. Uche, a friend Uzoma trusted like a brother, had gone to the king's palace earlier that morning and claimed that Uzoma had stolen the king's golden bracelet and hid it in his house. What shocked Uzoma to his core and utterly broke him was the betrayal of his best friend Uche, who had accused him of stealing from the king. It felt like a terrible nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Tears rolled down his cheeks as his heart shattered. Uzoma was overwhelmed with sadness and disbelief. Through his tears, he tried to speak, but all he could say was, "Please call my brother Chinedu. He knows the truth." Uche tried to tell the king to ignore Uzoma's request and not summon anyone, but the king was moved by the sincerity in Uzoma's plea, so he ordered the guards to summon Chinedu despite Uche's protests against it. When Chinedu arrived at the palace, he found his elder brother Uzoma crying, his face filled with pain. Concerned, Chinedu rushed to his brother's side, trying to understand what was happening. But the king interrupted and asked Chinedu about the golden bracelet. Chinedu was confused at first, but he remained calm. He narrated to the king all that had happened in the forest. He explained how Uzoma had found the golden bracelet and was planning to return it to the king, but Uche had suggested that he wait until the next day before returning it. Uche immediately interrupted Chinedu, denying the story. He accused both brothers of lying. His voice grew louder as he tried to convince the king that Uzoma was guilty of stealing the bracelet. Chinedu was stunned by Uche's blatant lies. He quickly thought of a way to prove his brother's innocence. Then, Chinedu turned to the king and said, "Your Majesty, allow me some time to do something important. I will return shortly, and I promise to uncover the truth when I return." The king was intrigued by Chinedu's confidence and granted him permission. Chinedu left the palace swiftly, determined to expose Uche. After some minutes, Chinedu returned to the palace with the chief priest of the village. He was holding a long staff decorated with mysterious objects and symbols. Suddenly, the chief priest announced, "May you live long, Your Majesty. I am here to prove who is innocent and who is guilty. This is the staff of truth, and anyone who holds it while lying will be paralyzed forever. So both Uzoma and Uche must hold it." The king agreed to the test. The chief priest handed the staff to Uzoma first. Without hesitation, Uzoma grabbed it firmly, holding it while narrating the truth, and nothing happened to him. It was Uche's turn, and the chief priest turned to Uche and offered him the staff to hold. Uche's face immediately went pale. He refused to hold the staff, claiming that it could be a trick by Chinedu. The king started being suspicious of Uche and commanded him to hold the staff immediately. But Uche still refused to hold it. He began trembling, and immediately he fell to his knees, crying out in fear. Suddenly, he began confessing, "I'm sorry, my king. I framed Uzoma because I was jealous of the reward he would receive from you. Please forgive me, my king. This will not happen again," Uche said. When Uche finished his confession, Chinedu stepped forward and began laughing. "Your Majesty," he said, "there is no magic in this staff. In fact, no one will get paralyzed if they touch it while lying or saying the truth. I convinced the chief priest to help me prove my brother's innocence. It was all a trick to reveal the truth." The king was amazed by Chinedu's cleverness and praised him for his wisdom. He then turned to Uzoma and said, "You have been wronged. Your loyalty and honesty will not go unrewarded." The king then summoned the entire village to the palace. In front of everyone, he declared that his golden bracelet had been recovered. The king also rewarded Uzoma and Chinedu with gold and plots of land. As for Uche, the king publicly disgraced him and ordered the guards to flog him in front of the villagers. Afterwards, he was thrown into the palace prison for several days. When he was finally released, Uche lived in shame, and his friendship with Uzoma was forever broken. You must understand that true loyalty is revealed in difficult times, and greed will always expose fake friends. Be careful of who you call your friends. The truth will always be revealed no matter how long it takes. The end. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe.